Hi YouTube, so this is my figure skating animation, behind the scenes or time lapse. Right here, this is about hour 3 of my work. You can see right now I'm just working on frames 1 through 10 and then trying to go up to 15. I don't use Adobe Flash very often, so I have to say that this animation was a lot more inefficient than it would have been had I been practicing recently, but it still worked out. This entire video shows hours 3 to 7. The first 2 hours were a bunch of tracing and just a lot of hassle involved. There's also hassle in hours 3 to 7 too, as I made a few mistakes that ended up proving very tedious to correct. So the reason, or where this animation first came from, or the idea, was that I made a doodle for 2014. So this is a figure skater that represents the 2, 0, 1, and 4. You can see that the hair makes up the 2, the head is the 0, the arms are the 1, and the legs are the 4. It's hard to see in this position, the 2, 0, 1, and 4, but once she goes back to her default position, you can see where the digits and the 2014 come from. A really tricky part of making this animation was that I didn't make a separate layer for the neck or for the shoes. So sometimes the shoes would get mixed up in different layers. I had to fix that. And sometimes the neck would join a different layer, and I had to fix that as well. So what I use to make sure that this doesn't happen too much is a system of locking my layers to keep them correct, and also hiding layers. I'm aware that there is a bone tool in CS6. However, whether for good or for worse, for better or for worse, I do not use a bone tool. I'm not sure how powerful it is. It probably, if I had chosen that path, it probably would have saved me a tremendous amount of time. However, the thing with the bone tool is that it doesn't allow you, I believe, to have as greater flexibility, because with bones you can't exaggerate, and I think that one of the greatest quirks and benefits of 2D animation is being able to exaggerate and being able to stretch and squish and all those great traditional animation styles. And also one great thing about Adobe Flash is the onion tool. It shows you a lot of frames before and afterwards, and it really helps the in-betweening, which is what I'm currently doing. I think I've been using Adobe Flash for about 2 years, on and off of course, and I would say I am very familiar with the UI, but I don't know a lot of advanced techniques, so I usually like to go by traditional animation techniques or variation of like 2 and 3D, so 2.5D. Right here is a fatal mistake. I tried to just eye where the neck should be, but then I realized I could just go into the head's motion tween layer, put a dot where the neck should be, and then as the head moved, then I could just trace where from the dot to the neck. And that would have saved me a lot of time had I thought of that first. So right now I am just cleaning up my layers, fixing the neck. Right now I realized that the other leg had started jutting out of the skeleton, so I needed to just clean that up as well. So at this point my animation was complete, so I started working on the background. So I decided that I wanted some light colors and some trees, but those trees weren't working for me. Clouds weren't working for me either. I also made another mistake by thinking that, oh, trees make everything better. So I ended up making 3 trees that I didn't use because I figured that the dark green would just throw off the color palette of the entire scene, because this entire scene is dominated by light shades of blues, or just shades of blues in general, because Figure Skater is dark blue. And I think the green just wouldn't have matched. In hindsight, I think I should have made some dark blue trees or some dark purple trees. I think that would have looked better. But then again, that could have been distracting, and I really want the viewer to focus on the skater in the foreground. So I ended up doing some gradients, which actually worked. They didn't interfere, they weren't too distracting. Also used a motion layer, and I fiddled around with a motion editor, but I couldn't figure it out. For some reason I couldn't make it even, so I had to just fake it with some keyframes here and there, so you can see the illusion of movement. I also originally was thinking about making an illusion of camera movement, but that sounded way too difficult. I'm glad I didn't think of it until I rendered the final. So right now I'm just trying to make sure that she slows down whenever she picks up her leg, because when you pick up your leg, all of your weight is centered in one position, so the pressure causes more friction, which makes you slow down a bit. So you can see in the final that whenever she picks up her foot, she slows down a bit, which I think makes sense. This is the final. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoy this.